Hey y'all, welcome. Hope I was doing well through so far as I'm getting adjusted to this new time change. I know it sucks, but guess what? With spring forward comes warmer weather. It's looking like it's going to be warm this week, and with warm weather comes severe weather, but don't be too terrified because even though the Storm Prediction Center has issued the scary 30% for Friday and Saturday, there could still be some fail modes, and I will keep y'all updated on Thursday, breaking down the threats and the exact timing. We'll still take a look at the timing and potential threats, but I'll be breaking down in detail on Thursday of what you could expect so you can prepare for a couple significant days of severe storms. And I'll also throw in some St. Patrick's Day facts and folklore for y'all to keep it a little bit fun and informative for y'all. So just prepare now just in case poop hits the fan, because it's looking like a couple days of some pretty significant storms could be possible. Now, before that, we got to take a look at today and tomorrow. It's looking like could be coming in on some soggy conditions down here in the southeast, especially down in Florida. Most of the country is looking to be pretty decent and warm. We can see got a ridge here bringing that warm, moist air from the Gulf of America, but we still got some cold air occurring up here in the northwest and part of the northern plains, as some pesky snow showers are going to be sticking around all the way through Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's looking like as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, it could be coming in on some atmospheric river-like conditions out west, some heavy snow in the California mountains, and some rainfall in Southern California, where those bald eagles are taking care of their babies. Jackie and Shadow, if y'all don't know already, Jackie and Shadow have laid 3 eggs, which have hatched into 3 babies, and they're protecting those babies. You could check that out on YouTube. Been pretty neat here lately. Been checking those out. It's looking like it's going to be pretty soggy for them eagles out there, and could come in on some snow for them too. And of course, this snow is going to be pushing east into the Colorado mountains. It's going to be dealing with a lot of snowfall. And this is going to lead the way to some severe weather this weekend. So please have a safety action plan in place ahead of time so you're not pooping bricks and being too terrified about this. And there could still be some fail modes. Keep that in mind, which let's go ahead and get into the potential timing for this. We're going to take a look at the Euro. And we're going to zoom in and look at the lightning flash density rate. This shows us where the most intense storms could fire up at. And as we can see here on Friday, could be a late evening into overnight event, and on Saturday it's looking to be an early afternoon into early evening event. Now, of course, this is subject to change. Keep this in mind. Can definitely be some fail modes like I mentioned earlier. And as we take a look at the temperatures of what we could expect, Friday is going to be very warm up into the mid 70s into the 80s, and that's going to get wiped out by the severe weather. And then Saturday, much of the same story. Warm air coming to the north, cold air coming to the south. Of course, the cold air is going to win out as the cold front comes through. And then we're going to warm up again, actually. So it's looking like this cold air ain't going to be sticking around after the severe weather. So that's some good news. As far as moisture goes, now we can see on Friday, we'll be dealing with upper 60 dew points to low 70 degree dew points. You can get wiped out. Then on Saturday, once the same story. Saturday could be an even bigger day as there's a lot more moisture and instability in the atmosphere. But of course, I know I keep mentioning this, but there could be some fail modes. Don't be too terrified, but prepare ahead of time, because if it's better to prepare than to not prepare. So if the tornado warning goes off, make sure you seek shelter in a basement closet until you're away from windows. Just use your common sense. Make sure to have shoes on, because in case you gotta walk outside when a tornado hits your house, and pack all the essentials that you need as well. And once we get past the severe weather, as we head into Monday, it's looking like the northeast is going to be pretty soggy, as well as the southeast, doing a lot of heavy snowfall up here in the northwest. And then that's going to transition towards the east, coming in on some pesky snow showers here in Wisconsin with some icing potential. Now, this is 200 some hours out, pretty far out to tell exact snow totals or anything. I won't show it here, but looking like we could come in on more severe weather and flooding as we head into the middle of the month and into the first day of spring. Doing a lot of heavy rainfall too as we head into the end of the month. So basically, looking like the west is dealing with atmospheric river-like conditions as we head into and past this weekend, as well as some severe weather as we head into St. Patty's Day out east. Getting a little bit of a break, pesky snow showers out west, but then we're going to be coming in on more flooding and heavy rainfall and potential severe weather in Kentucky and Tennessee as we head into the first day of spring. And then it's just looking like we're going to be coming in on another system. So it's basically system after system after system out east with atmospheric rivers out west. And as we take a look at the precipitation totals all the way out in right around the first day of spring, we can see about 2 to 4 inches of heavy rainfall. It's going to be possible over here out east. Definitely not good for areas like Hazard, Kentucky, where they got in on that flooding event a couple years, 2 or 3 years ago, somewhere around there. And we got in on a flooding event not too long ago as well here in central Kentucky, so please be aware of that if you live in flood-prone area. Of course, stay flooded roadway, turn around and do not drown, as it's looking like system after system is going to be possible. So we head into the first day of spring, which is going to lead to some flooding concerns. Now out west, there's going to be a lot of heavy precipitation as well. We can see right around 4 inches. Some areas getting in on about a foot of rainfall, potentially. Hunsrück River is going to be rolling through. Snow totals, right around a foot to 2 in the higher elevations. Lower elevations, of course, the lower it goes, but like heavy snowfall is going to be sticking around up here, unfortunately. And it's looking like the northern plains could be coming in on some snow. Not expecting any significant snowstorms, but pesky snow is still going to be possible all the way out into and past the first day of spring. And we can see the risk of heavy snowfall all the way out into the right around the first day of spring time frame. Over here in the central plains up into Wisconsin, slight to moderate risk. And over here by California up into Washington, there's a moderate risk as well, mainly due to atmospheric river conditions occurring, dropping snowfall and heavy rainfall over the same area over and over and over again. Be aware of that if you live out there. Precipitation, that's why I showed the graphic of about right around 2 to 4 inches possible. Could be higher amounts because there's a high risk issued from the 15th and the 16th from Mississippi up into Kentucky. Kentucky's prone to major flooding, so this is definitely a concern out there. Please be aware of this. Of course, out here by California, Hunsrück River is going to bring a lot of precipitation out there as well. So again, please be aware of this if you live in these areas here and here. And of course, we don't need the Climate Prediction Center to tell us that we're going to be coming in on system after system out east and out west, because it's looking like above average precipitation is going to be in store for these areas. But if you live down here by Texas and Oklahoma, could be drying out down there. And really, as we head into the first day and past the first day of spring, looking to be much of the same story. Eastern Florida below average, while Texas and Oklahoma up into Kansas coming in on a little bit of a drying pattern as we head into and past the middle of the month. Now I'm sure y'all are wondering, since we pushed our clocks forward, what's the temperatures going to be looking like? Well, it's looking like this week is going to be pretty warm. Warm temperatures today and tomorrow, and really lasting all week unless you live out west where it seems like it's chilly all the way out into July, it seems like. But really, really nice temperatures. So get out there and enjoy these nice warm temperatures this week. And even after this severe weather event rolls through, it's going to be a little chilly, but it's looking like that warm air is going to be coming back again. And we're going to just begin this little warming pattern as we head into right around the first day of spring, although we could be coming in on some cold spells. But this is typical of spring-like weather. Warm one week, cold the next. So this is why I said in the last video, do not plant anything yet, at least until the middle and end of May is what I would expect. Of course, there could still be snow all the way out into the Indy 500, mainly for this area here. I'll put up a graphic of when to typically plant plants, but I would advise not planting anything unless you live over here in Texas, all the way down into Florida, and as far north as southern North Carolina. I would go ahead and plant stuff if you live in this area, but again, expect a roller coaster ride of temperatures all the way out into the end of the month. But the trend is more leaning towards warmer temperatures, so get out there and enjoy the nice warm temperatures is what I'm basically saying. Now, as we take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, we can see the Mountain West, much of the western half of the country, heading into a little bit of a chilly pattern, while the central and eastern part of the country is heading into a nice warm up. Next 8 to 14 days, much of the same stories. So again, get out there and enjoy those nice warm temperatures, y'all. I'll be enjoying the nice warm temperatures tomorrow. Probably won't be posting much. But again, I'd advise not planting anything yet. Don't let the warm temperatures fool you, because we can still get in on snowfall all the way out into the Indy 500. So again, I'd advise against planting anything. Now, since we've pushed those clocks forward, we got the birdcast. This is what I'll be using to track the birds as they start to migrate north. Here's the average peak times of when they start to migrate. April 24th is the beginning of that. I'll be keeping an eye on this the beginning of April. Be a daily occurrence there on the channel of keeping an eye on the bird migration. And there's already been some birds that have been migrating towards the north. Been seeing some here. Actually need to fill up the bird feeders to actually get some birds here at the Williamsburg headquarters. But we can see 20 million birds predicted to move through tonight. Tomorrow even more, 25 million, because it's starting to get warmer. March 12th, the night of March 12th, right around 24 million birds are expected to move through. Sign of spring, y'all. Warmer temperatures are looking to stick around. That's some good news. Now, shifting gears here, we got a total lunar eclipse coming up March 13th and the 14th and the Pi Day. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be occurring at right around 1:26 in the morning. This is in Central Time, so right around 12:26, right around midnight hour. So unfortunately, if you have to work the next day, you probably won't be able to see it because you have to sleep to go to work the next day, unless you want to brave being tired the next day, but I wouldn't advise that. Or unless you want to take the day off, I would advise that too. But basically, 1 o'clock Central Time is when you're going to be able to see it, and here's basically what this means. Basically means that a total eclipse means the moon is within Earth's shadow, and the partial eclipse means that moon is within Earth's shadow. So it's not a total eclipse, a total solar eclipse, but it's a total lunar eclipse, which is basically pretty much the same thing, essentially. So now, let's get into this week in weather history. March 9th to 13th, 1891, the Great Blizzard in southern England and Wales. A ferocious blizzard pummeled the region with gale-force winds and heavy snow, dropping up to a foot in London and creating drifts as high as 11.5 feet in coastal areas like Torquay. The storm claimed 220 lives, sank 65 ships in the English Channel, and killed 6,000 sheep, making it one of the deadliest and most disruptive weather events of the late 19th century in Britain. March 11th to 14th, 1888, the blizzard of 1888, known as the Great White Hurricane. This monstrous storm paralyzed the northeast, dropping 20 to 50 inches of snow with drifts up to 50 feet in some areas. Winds hit 80 miles an hour and temperatures plunged below zero. Over 400 people died, including 200 in New York City alone, where the storm halted commerce and communications, burying trains and straining thousands. March 12th to 14th, 1993, the storm of the century. This massive cyclone brought a deadly mix of blizzards, tornadoes, and storm surges from Cuba to Canada, our 51st state. It dumped up to 56 inches of snow in Tennessee and North Carolina, spawning 11 tornadoes in Florida, and killed 318 people, with a central low pressure dropping to 960 millibars. It's a category 1 to 2 hurricane low pressure, essentially is what that is. It crippled the eastern seaboard, closing every major airport from Atlanta to Boston. Now March 14th, 1957, the Aleutian earthquake and tsunami that affected Alaska and Hawaii. An 8.6 magnitude quake off the Aleutian Islands triggered a Pacific-wide tsunami. While no deaths occurred, it caused $5 million worth of damage in Hawaii, which is about $50 million today, washing away homes and roads in Kauai. Now some wartime weather history, starting off with the Revolutionary War from March 10th and 11th of 1776, the Siege of Boston. General George Washington fortified Dorchester Heights on March 4th to 5th, aiming to force British evacuation from Boston. On March 9th to 10th, a brief period of calm, cloudy weather with light winds allowed American artillery to remain concealed and operational, avoiding British detection. A storm had been forecast, but its delay until after March 11th ensured the cannons stayed in place. On March 17th, the British evacuated, partially due to this window of favorable conditions. Had a gale struck earlier, it might have disrupted Washington's fragile position, altering the war's early momentum. Now, during the Civil War, there's a couple events that occurred. March 13th to 15th of 1865, the Battle of Bentonville. In one of the war's final major engagements, Confederate General Joseph E. Johnston attacked Union forces under William T. Sherman in North Carolina. Starting March 13th, heavy rain turned the battlefield into a quagmire with swollen creeks and muddy roads, slowing Union reinforcements and Confederate retreats. The downpour, peaking March 14th and 15th, bogged down artillery and cavalry, prolonging the fight until March 21st. The weather favored neither side decisively, but stalled Sherman's pursuit, giving Johnston's battered army a slim chance to withdraw. This late war clash, hampered by rain, underscored weather's persistent role as the Confederacy crumbled. March 9th and 10th of 1862, Hampton Roads aftermath. The famous Battle of Hampton Roads, Monitor versus Merrimack, which occurred on March 8th and 9th of 1862. On March 9th to 10th, a cold front brought gusty winds and choppy seas to the Virginia coast, complicating Confederate plans to press their ironclad advantage. The storm disrupted resupply efforts and damaged smaller vessels, while Union ships, including the Monitor, weathered it better in deeper waters. No major fighting resumed that week due to these conditions stalling a potential Confederate naval breakdown. Weather here acted as a tactical pause, preserving the Union blockade. Now, the War of 1812, which occurred from 1812 into 1815, March 9th of 1814. Both American and British forces were preparing for the spring campaign along the Great Lakes, a critical part of the war. By mid-March, including the week of March 9th through 15th, an unusually mild spell and early thaw began affecting Lake Ontario. Ice breakups started earlier than expected, allowing limited naval movements, but also creating hazardous conditions, floating ice chunks, and unpredictable winds. On the American side, Commodore Isaac Chauncey's fleet at Sackett Harbor faced delays in refitting ships due to choppy waters and lingering ice, while British ships at Kingston struggled similar. No major engagements occurred this week, but the shifting weather forced both sides to adapt plans, delaying the naval arms race until April. This law influenced the eventual American push toward the Niagara front later in 1814, showing weather's strategic timing. Now, March 11th through 12th of 1813, the post-York Raid. While not a direct battle during this week, weather conditions in early March of 1813 set the stage for later action. In the winter of 1812 through 13, severe cold and snow had locked Lake Ontario into ice, stalling operations. By March 9th to 15th, a brief warming trend and storms brought rain and wind, softening and muddying roads along the Canadian-U.S. border. This hampered British supply lines to Upper Canada and American troop movements alike. The weather's instability delayed planned raids, including the eventual American attack on York, which is now Toronto, in April of 1813. For this week, the transitional weather was a logistic foe, slowing both sides in a war heavily reliant on mobility. So we can see 1813, Lake Ontario froze over. 1814, thawed out, still caused problems. Now, World War I in 1916, of March 9th to 15th, the Battle of Verdun, one of World War I's longest and bloodiest engagements, began on February 21st of 1916 and was raging by early March. During the week of March 9th to 15th, the Western Front and northeastern France experienced a mix of thawing, snow, rain, and cold winds. The already churned battlefield around Verdun turned into a quagmire, with mud so deep it swallowed artillery shells, bogged down supply wagons, and slowed German advancements against French defenses. On March 10th and 11th, heavy rain flooded trenches, exacerbating conditions for the soldiers. Hypothermia and trench foot spiked. The weather didn't halt the offensive, but blunted its momentum, costing both sides dearly in a war of attrition. Now, the Mexican border war occurred during this time frame as well, right around 1916 and 1917. On March 9th, a sudden blizzard hit the region. Snow and freezing winds slowed U.S. General Pershing's pursuit in Mexico, bogging down cavalry and supplies. The storm turned a rapid response into a drawn-out chase, highlighting weather's borderland impact. Now, World War II, which lasted all the way from 1939 into 1945, on March 10th to 15th of 1941. Jan Mayen Arctic storms in World War II, Allied meteorologists landed on Jan Mayen Island on March 10th to secure North Atlantic weather data. Sub-zero temperatures, high winds, and snow battered the outpost this week, while German raids targeted it. The harsh weather shaped forecasting for convoys and D-Day, with storms potentially hiding U-boats or even clear skies, aiding Allied airstrikes, a meteorological match. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that little segment there of wartime weather history and this week in weather history. Now in the next video, I will be breaking down the severe weather potential, as well as some St. Patrick's Day facts and some folklore. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this little weather forecast. If you did, make sure to hit that like and share button so more folks are informed about the weather. Also leave me some feedback in the comment section down below, as feedback helps provide you the viewer better and more informative content in the future. Any feedback is greatly appreciated, y'all. And if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button with bell notifications turned on, because at Here Williams Weather we try to make weather forecasting fun and informative. I also have a Warmup channel if you want to check that out too. I'm up to 23 followers on there, so far. It's Williams WX98, so make sure you share that and spread the word. We're going to go to that channel as well. So basically, next couple weeks is looking to be pretty warm out there, which is fitting because we pushed those clocks forward. Spring is here, y'all. So get out there and enjoy that. Unless you live out there in the Mountain West where it's looking like some Aztec River-like conditions could be in store out there, which is going to be dumping a lot of heavy rainfall and snowfall, and it's going to be a little chilly out there as well, so that kind of sucks for y'all. Seems like it's always cold out there, at least up until July, it seems like. As far as the eastern part of the country goes, it's going to be warm. Some severe weather is going to be occurring on Friday and Saturday. We'll be keeping y'all updated on Thursday on the exact timing, the exact threats, and I'll also be posting out on X and Facebook leading up to Friday and Saturday, so make sure you stay tuned to this channel for fighting updates. So please don't be too terrified. Don't be pooping bricks because there could still be some fail modes. It can still be a bust day, but prepare for the worst and hope for the best, essentially is what I'm saying. And other than that, it's looking like could be dealing with some flooding as well. Back-to-back systems could be in store all the way out and past the first day of spring, so be aware of that if you live in Kentucky, all the way down into Mississippi. Don't let that deter you from getting out and enjoying these nice warm temperatures because it's going to be nice and warm for the next couple of weeks, y'all, and it's well needed, especially after the kind of winter we had. So, again, get out and enjoy the nice weather. Appreciate all y'all for watching, and until next time, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and never stop forecasting.